So, good afternoon to everyone and most respected President of Indian Association of Soil and Water Conservationists, Dr. M. Madhu, Director of Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation, and our senior and respected colleague, Dr. N.K. Sharma, Dr. Rakesh Kumar from NIH, and all other senior honorable members and also respected scientists, professors from many universities. This is one of the webinar we designed here particularly in context of the present scenario of floods in our country, and topic flood disaster management and contingency measures for crop production. So we have already witnessed, particularly for the in August and early September this year, Punjab, India's agriculture heartland, experienced its worst flooding in nearly 4 decades since the devastating 1988 floods. And these events were largely unexpected due to sudden shift from monsoon rainfall. Earlier, it was predicted as a deficit, and now this is to extreme surplus, triggered by back-to-back heavy downpour in not only northwest India, some states, cloud burst in hilly states, particularly in Uttarakhand, Himachal, J&K, and also we witnessed to experience this particular southwest monsoon transacting to trans-Himalayan region. So in Leh and even in Tibet, the plateaus experience the rainfall of this. So this is also one of the unprecedented events, and the floods are India's most frequent disaster, as we all know, accounting for 52% of the natural disaster events between 1900 to till date. So among all the disasters, of course, floods is more devastating. As you know, agriculture, our main stake, and we are working in that area. So that agriculture is highly affected by the floods. And normally in eastern part of the country, like eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, and few pockets of the other parts. But this time it was, of course, unprecedented in some other areas, even except that Rajasthan and Gujarat also affected highly with this particular disaster. So in this, of course, technical aspects and scientific aspects is one factor, and other one, ICR has already developed comprehensive contingency plans with key framework include the National Agriculture Disaster Management Plan and District Agriculture Contingency Plan from 651 districts, covering aspects like droughts, floods, unseasonal rains, cyclones, heat, cold waves, and pest outbursts, all those. But in this present context, these unexpected factors causing much more serious and giving challenge before the scientific community to think a different way for these contingency plans. So in light of all this, we thought over at least invite some speakers, and we aware with some advances and insights in the flood management. So in all that respects, we requested 3 speakers, renowned speakers. One, Dr. Giraj Amarnath, IWMI, and this webinar we are conducting in collaboration with IWMI. Then second, our speaker, Dr. Rakesh Kumar, former scientist G and IH Roorkee. And third one, flood vulnerability mapping in Middle Gangetic Plains, Dr. D.K. Singh, principal scientist from IRI. And after this talks, we host one small panel discussion to formalize all those talks. And all Dr. Gopal Kumar share some initiatives from IWMI, then follow up and concluding by President. So this is all about that today's webinar program. This is for only 3 hours. So with this, I am requesting our President for introductory remarks in this regard.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Amresh Kumar ji. Sabko namaskar. And Dr. N.K. Sharma ji, our senior colleague, and Dr. Rajiv Kumar Singh ji, and other the speakers and experts of today, the scientist colleagues, and also the honorable members of this Indian Association of Soil and Water Conservationists. We have former secretary and also the present secretary, Dr. Gopal Kumar, and also Dr. Ramanjit, and the student colleagues, those who are joined from the different organizations. I warmly welcome you all to this a series of webinar. Particularly it is being organized by the Indian Association of Soil and Water Conservation. And this particular event, it is being organized in collaboration with IWMI, New Delhi. And earlier, normally we used to call disaster means only focusing on drought, and here and there focusing on only the flood within the country, and also earthquake and cyclones. In the recent days, with the development of the science and also the prediction models, the cyclone prediction, it is being implemented, and the forecast is a realistic, and also the whatever the disaster management, the practices also it is in the line, and we are addressing the cyclone issues. Of course, the drought is another issue. Where 140 million hectare, the cultivable land used to be there. Out of that, nearly 70% the rain-fed area used to be there. And present context, due to the irrigation facility, increase in the irrigation facility from the different sources, both from the groundwater and also the surface water. And added to that, the management practices, the practice of irrigation methodology, what we are doing, the going for micro irrigation system, this irrigated area is increased a lot. And now, as and now, we are having about 50%. 50% it is under rainfed, and also the 50% it is under the irrigated, assured irrigation condition. In that way, probably we are not facing that much severity in terms of the phylloxera crop due to the erratic monsoon, that is the rainfall. But added to that, we are facing the problem of the over moisture, particularly in certain stage of the crop. That also leading to the crop failure and a sort of a agriculture disaster used to be there. Added to that, recently we are searching in one of the event we used to search which are the climate resilient towns and cities which are located in the country. But we have used AI tools and other things, but we did not get any towns and cities which are climate resilient at present at the country level. We know the recurring feature of flood, it is there in Chennai, it is also there in Mumbai, and recently it is extended to the other some of the cities where our senior colleague Dr. N.K. Sharma ji is there. Even in Punjab, Haryana also it was not left. It is affected. Of course, the flood, particularly in the towns and cities, the reason may be different. Because increase in habitation and the population, and in proportionate to increased habitation, the drainage, the mechanism, it is not being provided well planned, and most of the drainage it is either silted up or filled with some of the waste material. These are the some of the reasons where some of our cities and towns are get flooded, even a little bit of high intense showers. But this flood disaster, it has become, now it is increasing not only in India, it is a global phenomenon. In that context, we need to understand ourselves how these flood disasters, how frequently it is happening within the country or otherwise at the global level, and what are the important the health issues are monetary and the property which we are losing due to the flood, that also need to be I hope that our esteemed speaker they will going to speak on this occasion. And added to that, the simultaneously the management practices also need to be the standardized in future to come, in so that the whatever the advanced tools and technique like the remote sensing or use of satellites and also the use of drones and other things and advanced analytical tools, particularly use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, how some of these things can be managed. Of course, some of the town planning or city planning, it is coming up with the advanced planning tools and other things. But simultaneously, we need to do it at the particularly with respect to the agriculture and allied sector. Let us hope that this webinar we will be benefited how this flood disaster it will going to occurring in the global and also the country level, and how best we can manage the particularly with the agriculture and allied sector. With these remarks, I profusely thank our Vice President and also the secretaries and Joint Secretary of this Indian Association of Soil and Water Conservation, and also our the senior and also our colleagues from the IMI for joining this the event, and I hope that we will be benefited, and also some of the student colleagues also benefited. And our most senior colleague, Dr. Srivastav Sabha, also is there. Profusely welcome you, sir. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Amresh Kumar ji. Please go ahead with that. And as I told, I will be having another meeting at 3:30.
जी
After that, again, I will join back.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
good luck, all the best.
Thank you, sir, for elaborate and very useful, fruitful introductory remarks, and that will draw a line for our discussion. And we hope for your concluding remarks. Thank you very much, sir. So now I'm requesting our first speaker, Dr. Giraj Amarnath.
Yeah. Thank you. Hope you can hear me. I have some throat infection.
No issue, no issue.
Yeah. Thank you, first of all, to the organizing committee for organizing this important webinar, and also my colleague Gopal for referring my name to present this important webinar being organized by the society itself. Let me share my screen so that you can confirm on your part whether you can see my slides.
Dr. Saab, before this, just I am giving a brief of your bio.
Okay.
Dr. Giraj Amarnath is a research group leader, water data for climate resilient, and principal researcher, disaster risk management and climate resilience at the International Water Management Institute in Colombo, Sri Lanka. He has over 24 years experience of identifying, managing and scaling up climate resilience and adaptation projects and programs in partnership with governments, NGOs, communities, and the private sector across more than 25 countries. Currently, Dr. Giraj is leading an innovative climate resilience program to promote anticipatory action to mitigate climate shocks, climate extremes, to health risk, climate risk insurance, satellite-based monitoring and early warning, emergency response, digital innovation, disaster risk reduction, and also having work with water resilience program and sustainable water management. He holds a PhD in applied remote sensing and natural resources management and is a visiting professor at Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics in Pune. He has published over 125 research papers in reputed journals spanning disciplines of climate services, agriculture, disaster risk management, and natural resources management. So, of course, we are happy and lucky that the expert of wide experience along with us, and he is going to share his experience and his views with us. Thank you, Dr. Gilas.
Thank you, Dr. Amrish, for your introduction. I hope you can see my screen. Can you confirm?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So I think it was I was putting together his slides in a last minute efforts to join this webinar, so it may not be very comprehensive, but there are opportunities that we can collaborate and share in the coming weeks, because we are also preparing flood situation report, or what we call is a flood impact assessment report for entire India, with collaboration with the IIT and few other institutes. So we'll be happy to share that report as we try to finalize in 2 to 3 weeks from now. So flood disaster, I think this is a very timely segment where we are in the receding part of the flood impact, and enough challenges or the impact that has already posed in states that were not expected. But when I say not expected, means states that might have not been prepared well, despite certain informations that have been shared by the government of India, which I'm going to talk about more. You might have seen that there is a second press release given by Met Department way back in 27 May 2025. This is their report released by Met Department. Why I'm focusing on this particular image is how states have to think carefully the importance of climate services product, which sometimes we always think about in cities like Mumbai, when the Met Department says it's going to be
Recording potential
red alert, but then it may not be rain, and then the schools are closed. But then we also have to take it an approach in flood disaster is a no regret approach. So Met Department using the best, whatever the modeling inputs, atmospheric condition they are forecasting. But in this case, they have even provided much early in the mid of April, I believe, or the early May, first outlook, and the second outlook is what you are seeing. It's very clear that 106 long medium average forecast has been predicted between June to September. And then I believe the state level dialogues would have happened in terms of what is the preparedness measure they are supposed to do. Why I'm saying that these are very crucial to think in terms of future disasters. How do you manage? Because India is a region where we have always seen good monsoon over the last couple of years. And this year has been exceptionally reported to be a wet year across most part of the season. And the analysis of the breakdown of those state level data is also very clear. They are going to be above normal as per the IMD published resources. It's a Gangetic West Bengal. As you see, it is 106% of the long period average that is forecasted. So having this data, how states would have prepared, what they would have done it. But these are some text, but then you can go down much more granular detail. Beyond Met Department is the ECMWF forecast. It's again like our numerical National Medium Weather Range Forecast Center in Noida. It's where this European center is also producing. They are all saying similar things, but in a much more 10%, 5% error with the information. But even the quantitative precipitations have been forecasted in large part of country like India in a much more reliable order. So what did we do with this? We don't know. And this is where we need to think of what coordination and research has to go in advance when it comes to the onset, and what this forecast has been used by the policymakers is the need of the hour. We do have this produced this afternoon after this webinar was given to me that this is going to happen today. So we used our algorithm and looked at producing the Asia level flood mapping. This we produce on a weekly basis. As you can see, this is for a product between early June to mid-September. Large part of forecast is where quietly aligned. Of course, it depends on the river systems and how these catchments are going to bring a lot more flooding. We see the cities in Punjab, Haryana, the last part of the Ganga, Himachal region, all points out to be a severe recurrent flooding between the number of days the flood would have happened. We are not showing you the zoom part of the data because it's very, there is a lot of millions of pixel points are available here. But this is something where we are using this data for reporting flood impact analysis. So what this statistics also shows, there are parts in Jammu and Kashmir, parts in Ganga River Basin, hilly region. So these are all points out to very good correlation to the spatial based of remote sensing mapping. We do produce this kind of a 10-meter flood mapping for entire part of country like India. This is a snapshot of 25th August to 2nd September in Punjab. You all know a major catastrophic event has been reported. And the key reasons from our own studies points out to changing monsoon. And this year, it's also the westerly disturbance along with the added monsoon. It's like when you are having loads of cannon of water is coming through the monsoon, and then the westerly disturbance adds more challenges to that. And then in the regions where we are talking about, it's quite fragile region in terms of topographic conditions are quite complex. Like in the opening remarks, it was spoken about unplanned infrastructure, the in terms of issues around your more towards the systems like unplanned infrastructure settlements. When we talk about also the settlements that need to be upgraded when it comes to resilient infrastructure. In the unstable mountain, we see a number of developments is happening, and then added to that is a man-made disasters. We have saw similar challenges in Kerala, how the reservoir operations have been made, whether you see a trade-off between the hydropower sector or when should I release the water. And man-made disasters are significantly getting higher year by year. And the good part is that you can really quantify back in time and produce really a flood risk assessment tool, which are very important to think not just in terms of short-term safety net measures like providing compensation, but also how to use this data to prepare proactive disaster management plans, at least at the state level. And of course, we need unbelievable amount of resources needed if we talk about improving our own old age colonial infrastructures that need to be upgraded. So some of the slides I just want to highlight is disaster and adaptations cannot go in silo. We need to talk about three, four things in more holistic approach, because I could keep talking about there are a number of problems in flood disaster. It's not going to solve any problem. So the rest of the presentation is more on what tools and solutions IMI has been developing for a number of countries. One is risk reduction institute like Ministry of Agriculture, NDMA, and other aligned sectors have to work together. That's a first important pillar that they need to bring adaptation and disaster risk management in one integrated thinking. The other part is most of the time we bring community engagement more in the last mile delivery, but this is something where we need to think more in the day one when it comes to what infrastructures are sustainable for them. It could be a non-structural, not necessarily a structural infrastructure. And adaptive management supports system resilience. This is something where you build a lot more community ownership of building, and also making sure that most of the infrastructure, we only look at a specific return period disasters. We don't look at 1 in 1,000 year or 1 in 500 year return periods of investment plan, because they are much more expensive. And the important crucial is about the adaptive governance, which is something where we need to think about. So there are different services and innovations I would talk about that the countries can invest. If you look at in prevention, you might know all this word: prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. As you can see in the bottom text line, we need to talk about all these activities are well in place in countries like, in states like Punjab, in states like Uttar Pradesh, or the states where you are there, in terms of high risk assessment layers. You know, how does those risk assessment have been worked with risk insurance program? There is one fundamental challenge in most states is the lack of long-term strategic investment in flood management, flood control measure. I have seen in rivers in Bihar, we have worked for 4 or 5 years. You see upstream, there will be an embankment canal will be there. As you come down below the Bagmati and down, then it will be no canal structures will be, embankment will be there. It's just a free flow of flood water. So some communities get protected well, but some communities left over. They haven't able to construct many of those flood improvement program for many years, 20 to 30 years, and it is lack to convince what investment we need to do in terms of flood prevention from the long term to the medium term strategy. And I think the gray area for us is flood is very rapid. It comes in a very short period of time because of condensed infrastructure, and also the drainage structures are very poor, particularly in the urban and the peri-urban areas. That's where the most of the problems we talk about. Rest of the problems are the inundations happening in the floodplains in River Ganga. It's more about crop damages there, but then we do not have forecasting skills that is embedded much more relevant. For example, some analysis we have done, how do we install what we call is a tower to tower weather station that also have automated water level reading, but not necessarily the reading. How do you streamline
अच्छा
the data
ठीक
on spot with the disseminating with the different communities living in
आज
the
आप
villages?
हैं यहीं पर?
Yeah. Can you mute yourself? Hello.
अच्छा, आप शाम को अब अभी कहाँ हैं आप?
Amrish sir, please mute yourself. Amrish sir, please.
Yeah. Okay. So knowledge transfer, risk transfer tools we are talking about. I think India has done a great job when it comes to Prime Minister Crop Insurance Scheme, or whether it is health insurance, whether it is motor insurance. All these are very important to be prepared from the point of flood impact. Kashmir alone, one of the flood disaster, there is an exposure of over 200 to $300 million. Chennai flood in 2016 or something exposed over $400 million just on motor insurance alone. All the bikes and cars have been completely damaged, like we saw a few days before what happened in Kolkata. So risk preparedness in form of safety net like insurance is very important. Response, I think we are doing amazing in some states, specifically for cyclones, but there is a lot need to be done in terms of preparedness from to response in emergency services in response area. And again, we are very, very poor in recovery areas of flood, strategic investment in terms of risk assessment and the post disaster need assessment. This is it takes really roughly about 9 months to 1 year and beyond. And by the time we are moved on to another hazard, and then we have different priorities at state level or national level, and we don't really recover those and build those resilience area broadly. So we need to really prepare a state level, sub-basin level strategic prioritization of how do you really manage the flood with all this component. IMI has done this kind of a framework for few countries, and they have nationalized in Southeast Asia, which what I just presented to you in terms of first is identifying assets that are going to be highly exposed to vulnerable region. So there are a number of methodologies and tools we have developed, and not to also forget the importance of gender, particularly the woman in the case of flood impact, youth, and more inclusiveness we need to bring. Otherwise, we talk even the flood subject, it's more about farmers getting crop insurance or compensation, but there are many other things we need to look into that. So we just a couple of slides I just want to highlight. One of the main area that we need to move on with the mandates we have into much more integrated flood management efforts. What we have done is we need to make sure the centers are not, departments are not seen in a more standalone, but how do you bring a centers, like I think Bihar has established this flood FMIS, flood management information system. I don't know how many states have that kind of a service support system, and they have a cell that is reporting under the chief minister office and also with the water resource department. We need to have a unified data collection flood management system of both structural and non-structural, engineering and non-engineering, and the DSS system is to really track the performance of those systems efficiency. And of course, early warning is really important at a state level, and also the risk insurance and post-flood management strategy, at least to start with agriculture sector. You will see some examples with the work we did it with Indian Institute of Water Management. Then I think the blue part is very critical, community participation, local knowledge. They have been doing it for a number of years. How do they manage small scale floods to medium flood? But now the catastrophic floods are not easily estimated well in terms of the severity. There should be a much more ownership and accountability for the community itself, and their behavioral changes have to be made in terms of responding to future climate extreme. And if we do that, the major part we need to also bring is the policy reforms. Currently, we do have NDMA as a big picture, Central Water Commission, Jal Shakti, a number of other national institutions are there. But I think in terms of weaknesses are the basin authorities, the state to state coordination, that's where the integrated flood management, the basin approach, state approach has to be much more holistic. Safety net, we do not just think insurance, but we need to also have a lot more digital innovation. India is great when it comes to accessing dry ration, cash vouchers, based on forecast data. You can, based on the number of rainy days, you can also provide some cash quickly to those, link with your CSR. There are a number of other financial tools that can come in to really make sure that the community has a limited amount of fund is available to reduce their waterborne diseases, taking children's care, taking vaccination program for livestock. Number of other things have to be looked in terms of the integrated policy focus there. So I would say we need to see things in totality, but I think data is also critical, community is critical, and the policy reforms are very, very fundamental. One example I just want to talk about in my slide is about technologies are taking a space in which nobody have expected in recent years. But however, what we have been doing is we should not see solutions in silo. We have been integrating AI-based flood prediction models for few river basins. Now we can forecast 3 weeks in advance. We need and service data that can reach out to any number of people, and the same information can also activate emergency. Currently, they are all in different agencies are handling that, and the risk in financing. So data has to be stacked in a way that it is easy to understand, and we don't really reinventing wheel all the time on data manipulation by different agencies. So that is something to do. If we get a good data, good product systems, then we can talk about quick damage assessment tool, very on fly, because we can bring Survey of India data. NRSA is doing great work when it comes to Bhuvan. So we need to really bring that kind of infrastructure. But the damage assessment tool we have developed is basically, pre-season or during the crop season, what is a net asset value of a crop is there. We know it's predominantly a rice crop. We can estimate using satellite data, or even the local government is reporting the sown area for each week during the start of the monsoon. So when there is a rupees per hectare you estimate, and then you know where the flood is coming, you can really estimate quickly. But the estimation process and the payment process are taking lot period of time. Even the flood that would have happened in July, the community have to wait till November, December until the compensation have to be done in a crop cutting experiment and all. It's very cumbersome when it comes to getting that hard earned money by a farmer to get direct compensation. It's not possible. So this is something area that we need to focus more on. Then we can quickly estimate the damage assessment tool. So you overlay the land use of right during the season or before, and then you can really come with this kind of a quick estimate. Our tool estimate is how much, and the reported estimate from the government. Quite a bit overestimations are there. We know generally in many state government, when they report, it's overestimated. Suddenly someone wake up next day morning, and from the government they say we lost $13 billion or 13 billion rupees. We don't know how they have estimated that, because there is no satellite image available. But there are non-scientific approach of estimating these impacts. That's where there is no clear compensation goes in a right time. So there is a need to improve that methodologies as well. And we have done for a number of years since 2017. IMI has built this first India's flood index insurance product, and it was adapted by a number of countries, and Bangladesh and India, Zambia, and Allah. We have done it with 6 insurance company. This does not require any field validation. The payment is done on a monthly basis or on a seasonal basis. So we have tested it. It also received the UN SDG award in 2020. We have rolled out with a country like Bangladesh for a payment of 5.4 million taka directly in a mobile. We can share more about those ideas post our webinar. But I just want to end with the reflection of what do we do right after the flood? If it is inundating, and of course it will recede depending on the soil condition, the water that is going to recede depending on the catchment size and the flow, number of other factors taken into consideration. So we have looked at the flood depth, flood duration, and then prepared for the state of Orissa and Bihar, what we call is a post-flood management in collaboration with the Indian Institute of Water Management. We know at different stages of flooding, so we have prepared bi-weekly PFM plans, which you can see here for different rice crops, whether it is rice, whether it is maize or potato or vegetables. And we conducted a lot of trials in the places where the flood is just receding, and they were able to quickly grow vegetables, or they were able to grow some crops which are able to recover in 2 months of the damages that the rice would have vanished away with the income. So we have done it for varieties of crop. We have seen some farmers have made an income of 33,000. We have done the cost benefit analysis also for recently for Gorakhpur as well, and they find it very useful in terms of PFM plans, because they will be shifting towards early Rabi, but there is also a period where you can use that moisture to grow some quick crops that can make an impact. Similarly, we have done also these trials in different parts of the region. And what I'm just trying to tell is we do have solutions are in place, but then there are issues like access to these inputs. We have to access through the agriculture university. Often, private sector do not have ready to use seed varieties are available. This is again the agriculture extension or the role of relevant Department of Agriculture have to really be prepared when it comes to flood like this year. There is going to be a similar situation where the farmers would have significantly lost the damage, and then what these compensations would look like. My last slide is we need to bring together everything in totality, like the previous opening remarks were also focus on more on the drought, but we do have both the problems happens in parallelly as well. Some states have also been deficit this year in some parts of Uttar Pradesh, some parts of Bihar. Now we have done underground transfer of flood irrigation program UTFI, wherein we have revamped this ponds or lake, increased more groundwater recharge, and we have measured those water level and its quality as well. And we have seen that there is an increasing subsurface recharge have happened. It does also means that the excess flood water can be stored. We cannot prevent the flood, but to the extent it can be managed, and then that water can be useful during the dry season. You know, so this is a graph that shows about the groundwater levels have improved on that. So I'm just concluding with the slide saying we cannot have one hazard specific solution. In many of the regions, we are seeing cascaded impact with landslide, with drought, flash floods, and also the impact of land, other hazards as well. So we need to have much more composite adaptation intervention going forward. And again, this is my last slide. So thank you again for giving this opportunity. I'll stop here.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Giras. And of course, it is a good piece of information and contents, particularly in flood hazards and its management, covering wide range of issues what presently facing by many stakeholders. And one point you raised as the physical models as well as mathematical models in Bihar, that is the unique work done at the Supaul. I think that is the second physical flood modeling structure developed in Bihar, and also the mathematical modeling at Patna. This is a state-of-art laboratory there, and they are working Mike C, Hecras, and all innovative models they are using. So at the end only I say that it is well covered the environmental, social, and governance of the flood hazards and management. And now I am requesting the members for their clarification and few queries and questions, if any. हाँ सर, श्रीवास्तव सर, अनम्यूट कर लीजिए सर.
हाँ, हम यहाँ हैं. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Amarnath, for covering wide aspects. And at this stage, only two aspects I wanted to emphasize, that when we are going for managing, it's a huge area. It needs to be stratified and it needs to be categorized for going for terrain specific management, sir. That is very important. I mean, we cannot put in the bracket right from Buxar and Ara to West Bengal situations. So that will be very helpful. Going for management, stages and periods of flooding. I mean, when we will have what to do, what people, user, our farming community to do, these three things, they will play a very specific role. I mean, depending on the selection of the farming system and going for the alternate. I mean, from terrestrial to aquatic. And the last thing at this moment I wanted to say that the thresholds have to be worked out: economic, ecological, and social. And where what? I mean, the cutoff point could be where. These are some of the things offhand. And I'm very happy to the presentation of Dr. Amarnath, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anil. I just want to inform, you rightly pointed out of some of those ingredients I would call to make the flood management much better. But I think there is a recent concepts are emerging, place-based solutions. So we need to make taluk level, as you said, the thresholds, crop condition, the agrology, or whatever the soil conservation measure, what storage capacity, they need to prepare taluk level that such plans with better data. Now we are preparing cadastral map, the survey of India as a new geospatial policy.
Yes.
So they can more granular data they can produce, and
Right.
they can even look at your flood management in a more collective approach. So
Right.
we need to make a state level, the thresholds are very good, which season to
Yes.
start, whether early stage or mid season or in the
Right.
terminal phase of the drought. I mean, the flood or drought. I think those are some areas. I think as a society, we can provide some kind of
Exactly.
synthesis report. At least we can pilot in the place where you are all working and try to see how a framework can be shared to the state
Yes.
government.
Collating all the things.
Yeah.
Yes, collating all the things. Thank you.
Any more?
Sir, there are questions in chat. I think that is Soma Sundaram sir. Sir, you can directly ask now. I think there is opportunity. If some questions are not covered, it's better you drop in chat box. But now you can ask directly to the rest.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Viraj. A nice presentation. Congratulations. But still, we have a lot of early warning system. Everything we have at our hand. But we face a lot of floods and landslides, particularly in Dehradun, Nilgiris, and floods in Punjab. So, what's your way forward? Some of the aspects you have covered. Still, more clarity so that we can take that thing in forward way.
Yeah, so I think I would just begin to say there is no equity in early warning system. Equity in the sense uh, I have been seeing so many advisory services we are also making, but is it a human-centered approach? Whether that advisories are really reaching somebody, how far those actions are going to be relevant to this community. So there is a very gray area. Currently, what we see Met Department issues a forecast. They have the certain SOPs are available. They issue that through the farm cell or to NDMA. But then how is that the delivery channel is able to reach out? But
Yes.
more importantly, how it is making localized language to interpret that information. Currently, we say that the water level is going to rise another 2 meters. What does it mean for my household? What does it mean for my maize crop? So we do not have that context specific early warning. Otherwise, people are just receiving some information, but they don't make actionable, decisions. In fact, you are asking these questions, and in fact, I'm leading a global early warning webinar series. It's going to happen at 5:30, where you ask the question is exactly a 1 hour session on equity in early warning. So there are global experts are going to speak on that. If some of you or your colleagues have time, feel free to join us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very nice to meet you after 20 years.
Thank
We met at NRSA when you were working there. So
Yes,
he's
yes,
my
yes.
old friend also. So very
Yes.
happy to see you after a
Yeah,
long time.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great to see you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now a couple of questions already you have taken, and switching to next one. The topic is mainstreaming climate adaptation into integrated flood management practices. Dr. Rakesh Kumar, former scientist, G, IASWC, and his brief biodata sharing with you. Dr. Kumar is working as a professor and head at the Department of Civil Engineering, Sarda University, Greater Noida. Earlier, he served as Scientist G and head of Surface Water Hydrology Division, National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee. He obtained BE Civil, ME Hydraulics and Irrigation, PhD Hydrology from IIT Roorkee. Received 4-month trainings from many national, international organization, and one leading organization for R&D work in flood, that is DHI Denmark, and its software Mike C, of course, well known for everyone. This is the one of the physically based, very excellent model, and leading scientists are using that particular model. So he has training from that particular institute. He has published more than 300 research papers in international and national journals, also in conference, and completed 75 R&D and sponsored research studies, about 55 consultancy projects in the various areas, particularly in hydrology and flood sectors. Dr. Kumar has 20 foreign visits and also conferences, a meeting UNDP, World Bank, UNESCO, the Union Ministry of Water Resources Department Irrigation Prize, Hem Prabha, Asian Gupta Medal, and Mohan Lal Memorial Medals, and many more recognition in his name. And presently he is a Fellow of Institution of Engineers, Indian Water Resources Society, Indian Association of Hydrologists, and Indian Society of Hydraulics, and member of European Geoscience Union. So thank you, Dr. Kumar. I'm requesting for your talk. Yes, Doctor, are you hearing?
So probably you are muted, I think. Can you unmute?
Dr. Kumar, please unmute, or I ring him. Say calling him.
He's trying to speak and it doesn't show unmute, but then we're not hearing from him. I think you can call him. There may be some technical.
Okay, I'm calling.
Maybe he can go out and join again. That might be easier.
Ask him. Okay. There is some glitch from his end, and he is rejoining. Now, okay. So, sir, please start your talk. Are you hearing, sir? राकेश सर, नहीं आवाज.
Sir, actually, sir, while joining, he has to
हाँ.
select the audio with the Zoom link. Like that, he has to click. Otherwise, it may sometime won't work.
Okay.
He has to leave and then again join. While joining, he has to click that audio system also. Otherwise, audio won't come, sir.
Okay, I'm calling him.
Can you hear now? अभी भी नहीं सुन सकते सर?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
नहीं नहीं, अंदर से कोई सेटिंग खराब हो गई।
आवाज आ रही है सर आपकी?
क्या अभी आवाज नहीं आ रही है ना सर?
आ रही, आ रही, आ रही।
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now I'll share the presentation. This one. I think it's all right now.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay. So it's mainstreaming climate change into integrated flood management. This is broad outline of the presentation. That is flood mitigation and management, traditional and integrated flood management, flood inundation modeling and flood hazard assessment, dam break flood wave simulation, hydrodynamic modeling of a river for preparation of flood mitigation plan for a city. That is getting very important these days. Then flood disaster management in changing climate and mainstreaming climate change into integrated flood management. So under this broadly structural and non-structural measures are there. So these are some of the structural measures which I'll be discussing. That is dams and reservoirs, detention basins, embankments, channel improvement, drainage improvement, flood proofing, watershed management. And under non-structural measures, flood forecasting, flood inundation modeling and floodplain zoning, dam break flood wave simulation and preparation of emergency action plans, and flood insurance. That is not that common in India, but it's a part of this. These are some of the projects related to which I have worked, some nuclear power projects, hydrological aspects, hydraulic and emergency action plans of 10 dams, design flood estimation of 30 dams, then some drainage systems for those 7 thermal power projects, then hydrologic and hydraulic design of that, your Char Dham railway connectivity project that was carried, those bridges were designed. And then urban hydrology studies and riverfront design, stormwater management studies, particularly for Vadodara. This study has become very famous, and recently Honorable Minister for Jal Shakti, he has asked for similar study for Surat city. Then some other studies, and Brahmaputra riverfront for Guwahati, this has already been constructed now, almost constructed, and then hydrodynamic modeling of river systems and all. Now, this is that the concept of integrated flood management. It calls for a paradigm shift from traditional fragmented and localized approach and encourages the use of resources of a river basin as a whole, employing strategies to maintain or augment the productivity of floodplains. That is very important for agriculture sector and for a country like India, because we are agriculture dominant. So that aspect comes here, while at the same time providing protective measures against losses due to flooding. This was termed by the World Meteorological Organizations in 2003, and later on it was further modified in 2009 by WMO. In this, consideration of emerging issues such as risk management, urbanization, climate variability and change, and adaptive management were also incorporated. Integrated flood management, it improves the functioning of the river basin as a whole, recognizing that floods have beneficial impacts and can never be fully controlled. They can be managed to some extent. Then integrated land and water resource development in a river basin. This is very crucial for a country like India. Then maximizes the efficient use of floodplains, that is by agriculture most of time, and minimizes the losses of life. This slide I added, and I had made this presentation to the principal scientific advisor to the government of India, and he asked that I was speaking about all harmful effects of floods, but there should be some beneficial effects of floods. So at that time I was not having, but later on I just added it from literature. There's nothing much contribution from me. So it is about that renewal of wetlands. Wetlands, they become renewable when fresh water comes and washes them. Then returning nutrients to soil, recharge and replenishment of groundwater, recharge of water resources. Then in agriculture, sector, the flood waters carry nutrients and sediments which are deposited on floodplain and enriching the soil. Then it's beneficial for fishery, regeneration of river ecosystems, and other effects. Flood brings fresh water for irrigation and domestic use, increases fishery resources, improves navigation of transport, kills insects, washes out acid water, pushes salt water towards the sea, etc. Now this I've included. This is from the Subramania's book. This may not be visible, but this regional flood formula I just changed based on the state of art technique. And Government of Uttarakhand and many states use it. And at least 3 engine chiefs of Uttarakhand, Mr. Rajan Chalisgaonkar and 2 earlier, they were very happy with this, and it is very applicable there. You can see in that earlier formula was Q equal to CA raised to power 0.75, and there was no provision. It was in 1865 and 1875, and or Deacon Reeve, etc. developed, and not these were not modified. So this doesn't have any return period. It doesn't tell whether this much of flood will come in 2 years, 50 or 100 years or so. So at the bottom of the slide, you can see this kind of solution I have given for different hydrometeorological zones of India, which are shown in hatching because the data are not available for others. This was published in ASC. Award was also given to this. An ultimate solution of this is in tabular form. You can see this small table that if you want your catchment area is say 1600, you want 25-year flood, engineer can read directly from the table. So being based on this state-of-art technique where 12 frequency analysis distributions are compared based on the state-of-art technique of L moments, such a simple equation was developed. This is about the same. This whole page gives the solution. You ask me for any given area for any return period from this table, I can give you solution. So I'll just push through. These kind of tables have been developed. So no need to even solve the formula for different hydrometeorological subzones for 17 subzones of India. And this is this slide shows that how much improved the L moments are as compared to traditional moments. So we can see here the third bar is 398.11. This is 1000-year return period flood estimated by the conventional extreme value distribution or Gumbel distribution, which is used in India now. Even today, the best atlases developed by CWC and IMD, they use this distribution. But this is obsolete in international frequency analysis. So when I was working for nuclear power projects, my results were getting over-designed. Then they did not tell me, but gave me 40 values for which they had these 398 values for 1,398 cubic meter per second for 1000-year return period flood. And mine was 686. Then I calculated it for all the 7-8 methods, and then again they found that with the conventional method it is always low estimated by my method also. So that was very much eye-opening for them, and since then they are going with L moments with us. Now this is for design flood estimation for upper Narmada basin. All this was also done for a nuclear power projects. So here also we use those 12 frequency distributions and probable maximum as flood estimation, etc. So I'll just push. This estimation design flood for dams. This study was carried out on 23 such dams were designed for Government of Maharashtra under the World Bank funding. Secretary to the Government of Maharashtra asked for such a study. So this is that. This is under DRIP program, dam improvement and rehabilitation programs, because those dams have been designed, their hydrologic design or design flood estimation was estimated long back. There were less data and not so good techniques. So they want to see if that PMF has increased, and PMF has increased for most of the dams, probable maximum flood, so that the measures can be taken to pass that flood. Either the spillway size may be increased or reservoir operation policy may be redesigned so that not much water is stored based on incident rainfall, etc. It is released so that dam break, etc. is not there. This is that study which I was referring to. It's a 40,000 crore projects of Indian Railway for Char Dham connectivity. So you can see a design flood HFL and velocity distribution for a railway bridge. This we carried out such studies for 70 bridges of that route. And here you can see at the top that railway people came with the method given at serial number 1, that is Central Water Commission 1994, and just to find out what will be HF highest flood level. But we applied two more methods, and this L moments based method gives higher estimation, so we can't go for conservative or low estimate. That's why they were found to be more suitable. And then with this we find out using HEC HMS HACRAS, we find out the highest flood level for 50-year or 100-year return periods, and the velocity distribution across the cross section also, because the slope is varying in hills and all, so that how deep the piers will go and all that can be decided. So that was beyond their requirement. We satisfied their requirements. This one slide shows the design flood estimation for a nuclear power plant. It's in Hisar districts, about 200 kilometers from Delhi. So and this we carried out for NPCL nuclear power plant design flood. They came for 1,000 year return period flood, but then we are also estimated probable maximum flood and many other scenarios, because when you want to go for 1,000 or 10,000 year return period, we should go for hydrometeorological approach also. That is valid for large dams and all. NPCL was not knowing about this, so we introduced them to this, and you can see here that that site is getting inundated for probable maximum flood plus local various scenario conditions. And then we redesigned the elevation, the ground elevation there, and I'll show that the slide becomes free from inundation, and even 15% increase was considered due to climate change in probable maximum flood also, and in 1,000 year return period. Now after Fukushima, they are going for 10,000 year return period flood. So we worked with them for 10,000 year return period flood and probable maximum flood. It is not seen here, but it shows, it has been hidden. But how much the additional increase in safe grade elevation of the nuclear reactor will be there, that was estimated for 15% climate change. And with these embankments provided along 3 sites, then you can see that this site is now not getting inundated. And here these spaces, these white ones are the locations of nuclear reactors. And other 2 are switch rooms, and these blue lines are drainage systems for this nuclear power plant. It was to start production by 2020, but there's some seepage problem, etc. It has been slightly delayed. And these are those drains and their location. Based on this, I published one paper. This is that paper. Now, this is hydraulic modeling for Brahmaputra Riverfront Development Project for Guwahati City. This project is now almost completed. All that is available on YouTube also. So we carried out a very comprehensive study for this GMDA. Earlier, GMDA had approached many premier organizations, but no one took the challenge. Now, this is that very famous study preparation of flood mitigation plan for Vadodara city. This report was asked from me 2 weeks back also in some meeting in Vadodara. So we in this a lot of features have been studied. They are how this river is Vishwamitri River is getting inundated. Vadodara is very important town in Gujarat, and principal scientific advisor Dr. B.N. Navlawala. He was a secretary water resources also. He was advisor to Modi sir also. So he wrote a letter, and then we carried out this study. And specifically, we gave many solutions like flood diversion by a channel to my river results in 25% reduction of the flood peak, and evaluation of overtopping of 32 bridges that is there. But channel improvement results in 60% increase in carrying capacity. Presently, the channel is not that clean. There are a lot of debris and all that. And if that channel is clean, well shaped, and on the right hand side, you can see the cross section also, natural cross section also, and in blue and red cross section, and leaving some space in between other, if it can be lined and all, then its capacity of carrying peak discharge will increase by 60%. And Vadodara will be then, and upstream reservoirs are there, increasing their capacity. So many things we considered, and all these solutions, they have been accepted. And now they are going for constructing is all those features and all that. It was stuck up in NGT, but now they have obtained approval from this. This study was found very well there. Then now they are asking for a similar study for Surat city also, because Union Minister of Water Resources is from Gujarat, and Surat is very, very important city in Gujarat. So that's why now that study will be repeated for Surat also. Now this is a design of drainage system for a thermal power plant. You can see on the right hand side there the irregular shape, and then red and blue. So this irregular shape natural drain was there. So we designed it. This red one is the upper, and this almost blue violet color is the downstream cross section of this drain in Khurja. And there is a highway passing through this, and there is bridge. They wanted to know how much velocity will be generated for peak flood there, and we saw that this velocity about here about 1.75 meter per second will be generated. So it will be safe, that highway bridges, and all those bridges, they tolerate velocity up to 3 meter per second. This is another dam break inundation flood modeling for Baghi Dam. This was done in connection with the Chutka River power plant. You can see how the flood wave is traveling. And then here also, when the dam breaks, how the flood wave travels. Then is this inundation modeling, depth of inundation, duration of inundation, extent of flooding, everything's modeled and stored. And all those plans are carried out based on these simulations. We can see how this discharge is varying, or that depth of flow is varying in the downstream. That is a feature of dam break flood wave simulation, and how the much inundation will be there of that joining area for 20-year return period flood, 50-year, 100-year probable maximum flood, or 1,000 year. All this has been carried out this way. This is again, there are 7 upstream dams of that Chutka power project, nuclear power projects. So if all the 7 of them break, how the flood waves will be traveling, whether the nuclear power plant will be safe or not, all that has been studied. And this is again for that power plant only. And this flooding was there, then gave various scenarios. Then this is the dam break analysis for preparation of emergency action. Such plans are now being developed for almost all the large dams. In India, there are about 5,500 large dams. For most of them now it has been mandated. So some of those studies we have carried out. And in this, all this flood depth that has been superimposed on Google Map, and the depth of flooding, as I say, duration of flooding, extent of flooding, all that have been modeled. You can see here that there is a township. So this yellow line shows that if we propose some flood alignment embankment, that is highest flood level plus some freeboard, if that much of embankment is created, then if that dam fails and it is filled with 100-year return period, whatever condition was for those agencies, so how this township can be made safe. Now this is the terminology for flood inundation, flood mapping, flood hazard, flood risk zoning, and floodplain zoning. This was developed based on a letter received from Minister of Water Resources some time back, and now they are working on this. This study is about floodplain demarcation for Yamuna River at Ghagra. This was carried out at the order of National Green Tribunal. There's a lot of encroachment of Yamuna river bank there. So then NGT ordered that for 25-year flood, for 50-year flood, for 100-year flood, how much area is getting inundated. And I've come to know that some of the installations, including some of the hotels, schools, etc., they are being moved out from there based on this study, results of this study. We were never inclined to do this study, but we were dragged. We could not see and know to NGT being working in Government of India. But this study was well received, and now such studies are being carried out for all the river, including for river. We were discussing for Bihar, so soon we are taking up a study for Bihar also, a similar study that is being funded by the central government, and that in that department also, which you referred about, which was referred by the earlier speaker, they are also a partner in carrying on this study. So such studies will be carried out for all the major river basins now very soon. This is one study carried out by me out of interest, because there was a discussion about 10, 12 years back that due to increase in climate change, now say we are designing a bridge for 50-year return period. So should that 50-year return period be increased to 75, 100? Should it be increased or should remain same? So giving an input or just have an eyesight into what I did, that in this I studied the various, say 100-year flood is increased to 150-year flood, 50 is 75, 25 is increased to say 35. So what is the percentage? All that results are there, but in this particular site, if we increase the 100-year flood to 150-year flood, then what is the percentage increase in flood for various regions of India? For whatever data I had, that is the best data set based on which I have developed regional flood formula. So we see here that the minimum increase is 3% and maximum is 11%, and roughly the middle average is 7.5. Because nuclear power people, they were increasing their flood by 15%. So from this, for the average scenario, that is 7.5%. I could make out that if we are increasing, say, flood of 1,000 year by 15%, its return period is getting elevated to 1,450 return period. So that reverse calculation, I gave these inputs to the Nuclear Power Corporation of India also, and Atomic Energy Regulation Board also had some meetings regarding this. So this gave some eye-opening in that. So it is in that context. It's a part of a study which was awarded to me for $15,000. Only 15 people were awarded all over the world. So it was from Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Because that paper is in publication, so I didn't put all the results, but here we can see that comparative studies on climate, if we use fixed increases, or I use even GC, I'll show that GCM, global circulation model results also. I'll discuss briefly. So if we increase it by 10%, 15%, up to 50% for 50 year, 100 year, how the flood magnitude is going to increase. And if this increases, then all hydraulic designs will change. Even the highest flood level will change, and all this. This study I've carried out. This is under publication in IASWC, so I can't share its results now. And these are those 6 GCMs also, which this is for Dehradun and Roorkee, and their predictions for 2050 and 2100, and I have taken these rainfall. But in Dehradun and in Uttarakhand, from these 6 GCMs, the rainfall is not much increasing 2050 and 2100. As we see that it is increasing in Gujarat, it is increasing in say Rajasthan and all. Here that much increase was not there. So dominant factor was 50-year and 100-year flood. But in many parts of India, it will be increasing. In many parts of India, it will be decreasing. And still there are a lot of uncertainties in GCM outputs. But 6 best GCMs I compared here. This is what I said. This is under publication. Then this, in the end, I don't want to take much time. This is Integrated Flood Analysis System, IFOS. This has been developed by ISRAM Japan. And in this, everything is done in computer. You don't have to give any, say, topographic data and all. Every day they are, every year by year or month by month, they are increasing it. So it's a complete software which generates the catchment, it generates the rainfall scenarios, so it's based on satellite, JAXA and other. So very state of, and such software will be available to the people soon. Then it gives the future scenarios, and I was also trained on this software. We applied it for a region in India also, and every day or every year, every month it's getting updated. So this is just to tell the viewers that such kind of work is also progress, where everything will be generated from satellite and SRTM and other sophisticated data, right from topography to the flood to the rainfall, antecedent rainfall, flooding, catchment, everything. Now, these are some of the points for that mainstreaming of climate change into integrated flood management. That climate change is increasing the frequency and intensity of floods, apart from many other things. Integrated flood management must consider future climate scenarios. Mainstreaming ensures flood policies, infrastructure, and planning and climate resilience. Then you use climate models, and people are using, but they not for real infrastructure, but we are using for real infrastructure, as I told you, for that bridge and for that nuclear power projects, and one other study also that. And for rainfall, temperature, and other hydrometeorology, there are more than 30 hydrometeorological variables. For risk assessment, conduct scenario-based planning for multiple future, map vulnerabilities of high-risk areas and population. And then design various hydraulic structures, drainage systems, because urban flooding we saw. And we saw failure of 2 bridges recently, last week only, in Mussoorie and in Dehradun. If they are designed so scientifically as I presented, I think they won't fail now. And for Vadodara also, we said that they are very old bridges of British time and all. So we found out how many of them are getting overtopped, and they are really getting overtopped in intense floods there. So all that can be managed and done now. Now restore wetlands and floodplains for natural buffering, for that flood soaking kind of thing, and then build flexible, upgradable structures. That is being done for important structures, but not all the structures. Then integrated land and water use planning should be there, enforce floodplain zoning with future flood risk maps, promote permeable surface, green roofs, improve drainage, and low impact development. Low impact development means that overland flooding is not that much. We should use natural depressions, storages, green spaces, natural tendency of the soil to absorb water and transmit it to groundwater, and manage watersheds for runoff regulation under climate change and variability. Then early warning systems and monitoring, couple hydrological and climate models for prediction of and forecasting, deploy real-time scenarios and remote sensing and other techniques, enhance community preparedness through early timely alerts. Then policy institutions and finance include climate risk and integrated flood management policies and guidelines. Promote cross-sector coordination, that is water sector, agriculture sector, urban sector, many other, even industries, power and all. Mobilize climate funds and insurance solutions. Then capacity building and public engagement. This is very important. Train engineers, planners, local authorities, NGOs, local citizens, scientists and all. And involve communities in planning and decision making. Raise awareness of climate flood linkages and adaptive management and continuous review. Update flood risk maps with new data and technology. Learn from extreme events to improve planning, revise regulations and design standards. All regulation and standards cannot continue for long, so they need to be revisited. Some work I am also doing for design flood estimation standards. And brief conclusion, mainstreaming of climate change into integrated flood management ensures resilience. It requires data-driven planning, cross-sector coordination, and community participation. It builds future-ready adaptive decision support systems for integrated flood management. There are some action points also, but I don't want to take 10-15 minutes on this, what should be done. So this is in brief which I want to say.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is the nice presentation and intensive and elaborate. And Dr. The next speaker, actually, sir, he is requesting, he has only 25 minutes. So after his talk, again some questions and other we can invite. So with this, I am requesting Dr. D.K. Singh, Principal Scientist, IRI.
Okay,
Right.
okay, Dr. Sir, I have just joined because I'm extremely sorry because today we had very hectic day. Now also the DG is taking one meeting, so I was to be there, but I just came out here. So good afternoon to all of you. Dr. Amrish, we have to go through presentation or kya? What is the, like, I have few presentations.
You can choose your mode of talk or presentation as you wish.
Okay, so I have few slides, maybe 5-6 slides. So I will just uh, शेयर दोज बिकॉज ये आपने हमें ऐसा हमने आपसे रिक्वेस्ट किया था हमें सूखा पर जितना मर्जी उतना बुलवा लीजिए, बाढ़ पर मैं डर के मारे कम बोलना चाहता हूँ कि बाढ़ एक ऐसी चीज है फ्लड की। दिख रहा है हमारा? नहीं,
अभी नहीं है।
एक मिनट साहब, रुकिए रुकिए एक मिनट। अभी दिख रहा है क्या?
ना, नहीं आया।
नहीं दिख रहा है साहब?
अभी आया,
आ गया ना?
आ गया। यस।
ओके ओके, एक मिनट इसको मैं इस चला के देख लेता हूँ, क्योंकि आज ही मॉर्निंग में मैंने कुछ प्रेजेंट किया था, फ्लड पर ही था। दैट वाज माय सेकंड अटेम्प्ट ऑन फ्लड। इसके पहले ना फ्लड पर मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा किया है काम, ना बहुत ज़्यादा सुना है, मतलब सुना तो बहुत है, बहुत ज़्यादा काम नहीं किया, बट वी हैव मेड सम अटेम्प्ट।
very honest.
Okay, so now I think a size must be visible. So I need not to define what is the flood and all. I'll be little bit talking about the flash flood. कि अभी जो हो रहा है, डॉक्टर अमरीश जस्ट आई जस्ट वांटेड टू नो कि आपके ऑडियंस में ऑफिसर्स हैं या स्टूडेंट्स हैं, कौन
Mostly
से लोग हैं,
scientists,
मतलब किस?
professors and students.
ओके, बिकॉज उसी हिसाब से फिर मैं करूँगा ना। ओके फाइन। सो मैं बहुत ब्रीफ में करूँगा, बहुत क्रिस्प में करूँगा। एज वी नो दैट द फ्लड इज हैपनिंग ऑलमोस्ट एवरी ईयर, एंड we are seeing the flood in a area, in regions or in area where there was no flood about 25 years back. Like we knew Gujarat as a drought prone area. I remember when we were in the college, at that time Gujarat was facing the severe drought. It is, in 80s, in fact it was all drought and drought in Gujarat. So was the case in Rajasthan also. Now the things have almost changed. Rajasthan and Gujarat almost they have the same intensity of the flood like other areas, of course, leaving the hilly region aside. So that is what the flood has been done. I will just from my experience, I would like to say that we can do the flood mapping, we can map the flood vulnerability, we can delineate the vulnerable regions or
Yes,
areas.
yes.
But I
Yes,
really
yes.
wonder if we have very, very solid flood which has been occurring almost in areas. Sorry, Dr. Amrish. Hello.
Okay.
हेलो,
We
आवाज
are
आ रही है
listening.
डॉक्टर साहब?
हाँ, आ रही।
अच्छा ओके। हाँ नहीं, मेरे यहाँ थोड़ा नेटवर्क भी बड़ा स्लो था ना, इसलिए मुझे लग रहा था। सो जो based on my experience, because I also come from a district where flood had been happening almost after every 3-4 years. This year we had the almost very high intensity flood in Mirzapur and Banaras, and starting from, in fact, Allahabad region only, which we had seen about in 1978 when we are in school, or again in 1981. So this has started happening, but we are really sorry that so far, knowing that it has been happening and it will happen, and then with the climate change again it is going to be more intense and intense. We have not been able to really address this issue, and I wonder if we are going to address in future also, except some flood relief measures and all. Because as a previous speaker, I was listening to him also, I listened about the few other things. Even embankment, I remember the flood in 1978 in Allahabad, our entire embankment was broken. So if that is the thing, and that is happening now very frequently, so how much money we have to spend on the embankment or this kind of structure, really it is going to be we have to see it that how it is going to be addressed. and what are the solutions. We have to really think some different out-of-box solution for managing the flood or mitigating the flood. I've seen the flood that is, of course, not because of only high rainfall region, is because of cyclonic flood. We had been working in Sundarbans area where entire embankment on Bathala river was broken and in 1921, in fact during COVID period also. So where we we had our experiment there and in Kekhali village, that was all inundated, and there was water was there for almost weeks together. That is a heavy clay soil. That's another problem, because where the flood, if it is Rajasthan, so the effect of the flood is it disappears maybe in couple of days. But if it is in black cotton soil, infiltration or percolation rate is very high, then it takes weeks together. Almost sometime it will be even for the entire growing season. So you have to go for different strategy in such region. So with this background, and this year only he has almost completed flood vulnerability mapping in middle Indo-Gangetic plain. Basically he has covered the area which starts from Banaras to Patna and maybe slightly down in lower Indo-Gangetic plain, just touching the lower Indo-Gangetic plain. So I'm not going to define what flash flood is. It's basically when it's the instantaneous response function of high intensity rainfall. When high intensity rainfall falls, even if the very high infiltration soil, whether we have a watershed or area where infiltration rate is very high means that even if the 10 centimeter per hour, if the entire cloud is falling in delta T tending to zero, we have the impulse input, what we call it. Again, there is no nothing. I mean, can't do anything. If entire cloud is falling on the earth, in zero time, you don't have even time to evacuate the people. So this kind of events are happening. This year, in fact, flash flood had been very, very common in Uttarakhand and Himachal, or even in JNK. So no, I'm not going again to all this, because this I saw that this most of these topics were covered by earlier speaker. I will come to the work which we are doing in middle Gangetic plain. This is what we completed this year. That is flood vulnerability mapping in middle Indo-Gangetic plain and management plan. This shows the entire middle Indo-Gangetic plain, where it covers Uttar Pradesh, mostly Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And then we have divided into three region. You can see that the entire Indo-Gangetic plain is divided into three regions, where the flood affected area are shown in region 1 and region 2. Of course, I have not marked the region 1 and 2, and the lower area is not flood affected. Right. So what we have done here, we identified from the literature as well as from the heuristic knowledge, those who have been working in the flood management, that what are those parameters which really affect or cause the flood. And we collected all those parameters, whatever was possible from the secondary literature, and some of the information we downloaded, like DM and soil map and all that is are available freely on several websites. And NRSC website also provides some of the data, and of course DM and all we downloaded from SRTM. So what we did, we prepared the different thematic maps of rainfall variability, soil geology, DM, land use, land classes, elevation, slope, aspect, flow accumulation, curvature, drainage, density map. And if you go in deeper, you will find that all of these parameters are factors in one or another way. They cause the flooding. Or some of them, if they are favorable, they mitigate the flood. If they are not favorable, then they cause the flood, or they promote the flood in that area. So all these maps were prepared. Then analytical hierarchical process, that is what we call it AHP, was used for pair-wise comparison, and then validation of the flood vulnerability map using the previous year's flood. What we did from the Bhucos and Google Earth also, we downloaded the data, because these data are available. Even now also you can download how much area is under flood in which region or which part of the country. So all those were downloaded, and then after AHP, after doing the analysis using AHP, we got our map, like these are the area, flood vulnerable map areas, and then we compared with the previous year's flood or this year's flood also, which were downloaded from the Google Earth. And once we perfected this, and then next step was to classify the flood intensity in different classes using again AHP. So that is what we did. We collected, we prepared collected information about the 14 parameter that included from rainfall to elevation to slope, flow accumulation, drainage length, everything, whatever hydrological parameter are required for flood mapping, they all were collected. And then we prepare again the maps. Like here you can see the rainfall map in middle Gangetic plain, then elevation map, and then slope map in middle Indo-Gangetic plain. Then we likewise we have the drainage density map, then distance from the stream map, because this is another important parameter, that if the point is far off, then flood will reach, no, the water will reach, it will take some time, and by the time if the water started reaching, maybe the area will not be flooded. So that is also a very important point. So we consider this also, that what is the distance from the stream, what is the distance of a place from the stream, and then stream power index map, and then topographic wetness index map, land use, land cover map, and then soil texture map. These all were prepared in GIS using ArcGIS. And then likewise hydrological map, and then normalized difference NDVI. Like this is also very important, because the vegetation is more, and then we have likely the impact of the flood is going to be less, or water will not be moving with higher velocity if there is lot of vegetation and all. So included NDVI also in that. Then and then we have the topographic roughness map. Roughness is more, water will not be moving fast. So all what I was trying to explain is that almost all the parameters which cause flood or control the flood, they all were included in this analysis. And then this is we prepared the flood vulnerability map, and then you can see that this one, the picture which is shown on the left hand side, is the historical flood map, and then we superimpose the map which AHP has given after integrating all those thematic maps. And then by and large we found there was a good agreement with this, and then after that we prepare the final vulnerability map for entire middle Indo-Gangetic plain. And we can see here that the area, that middle Indo-Gangetic plain, has been classified under very low, low, moderate, high, and very high category. Like almost, I don't know if I have that slide. Oh, it is there. Yeah. So you can see that almost a large area is, of course, not in very high flood zone, but yes, they are there. Maybe there the flood intensity or interval would be 4 year or 5 year, but that too with very less amount. So ultimately what we found is very salient and small result. I'm not presenting entire result, that the rainfall was the most important factor, with the weightage of about 22%, followed by elevation. So rainfall, and that is true also. Anyone can tell, even without this analysis also, if the rainfall is very high, the flood likelihood is going to be more if other conditions are not favorable, right? And then elevation and slope, they were the second and third. And then 3.94% of the study area, that is 3.94% of the area in Indo-Gangetic plain, is very highly vulnerable to flooding. That is eastern and northwestern section near the Ganges river and its tributary. And about 6.68% is highly vulnerable, and 56.02% is moderately vulnerable category, and 33.36% has a low to very low flood vulnerability. So these were a study. Of course, it's not entire result. To arrive at this result, almost he has to do 2 years analysis, collecting data, preparing the thematic maps, then subjecting it to the AHP analysis and all that. So it took almost more than 2.5 years. With this simple, what I'm trying to say, that similar exercise we can do. Of course, I saw the presentation where the case of Agra was presented. We can do the similar kind of analysis. At least if nothing, we are not doing much, then at least we can classify based on the historical data that what is going to be the flood intensity, what is going to be the flood interval, so that the policy makers, they are ready with the plan. Of course, predicting that next year is going to be the flood area or flood year or not, that is not possible. The law of probability also says that it's not possible. We can say that what is the probability of getting flood next year, but we can't say that exactly the flood will be happening next year. That's not possible. But yes, particularly once you have identified, then such and such region near the stream, they are prone to the flood, then definitely now itself, I mean, the government has already started, and in the form of bank and then embankment, and there are so many measures that's happening. What we are going to propose for this region, that I have not presented in this, because still the student is working on this, that particularly in the Kosi river basin or Budi Gandak and all that area which is in Bihar, there we get recurring flood, and our analysis also says that analysis was not presented here to make it very short. So why not to take that excess water? I'm not talking of that river linking which was thought in 1971 in big way, that taking the water of Patna to the Deccan Plateau in Hyderabad or Karnataka. Oh no, I'm not talking that, but within the state can be done. Because if you look at the North Bihar and South Bihar, if you go to Gaya and then Rajgir and then Jahanabad and all this area, they are water scarce area by and large because of geohydrological condition as well as because of the terrain and all. So why not to think of something so that this water can be taken even within the state also. So this kind of course, again, I'm not saying that that is going to be feasible or not, whether that is possible or not, but at least we can think of, as out of box thinking, we can think, because we have to manage we have to do a complete water balance, regional water balance, then excess and with small channel or pipes and all. Well, for today's lecture, because I was jam-packed today from morning when you contacted me the first day. So our IRC is going on. Otherwise, I would have discussed about the entire methodology which student has used to arrive at these results. Thank you. If there are few
Thank
questions
you.
or interaction, I would better prefer to go for interaction.
So thank you,
Okay,
Dr. Saab. In your hectic schedule of IRC, anyhow, spare time for this particular talk. And I didn't even read your brief biodata here. So just in a few
no, that's fine.
seconds.
I mean, that's all.
So
Because they are waiting there again.
Most of colleagues are already aware and known to you.
Yeah.
So you are still bearing with us for 10 minutes here? Or living?
I'll be there because I have not yet got, because I have requested somebody to send me messages.
Okay, okay. So now this is one part about the modeling and technical aspects of the flood management, flood information system, and other aspects related to the flood hazards and vulnerability. The second part of this topic, as mentioned here, so ठीक है डॉक्टर साहब, if there is a constraint of time for IRC, so you can join them. So second part, contingency measures for crop production. And this is one of the most important, particularly for us. And I am inviting for this Dr. Anil Srivastava and one person from RPCU, Dr. Mukesh Kumar. He is from RPCU Pusa, economist. Dr. Mukesh Kumar, professor.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yes. Right. So your inputs particularly required because a number of efforts already made in this regard, particularly in contingent plan. But in present scenario, particularly in the Bihar and eastern part of the country, contingent plan, whatever available, in this, how could we go for betterment and what changes you need really in that area? And one fellow also, I requested Dr. Ratnesh Jha, Director Extension, whether he is here or not, I don't know. But okay, Dr. Mukesh Kumar, please.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for opportunity. And this is a very important topic you have selected and your society selected. And though this time there was not flood in Bihar, but you know, sir, that is the most disaster in the Bihar, that flood. already, sir, engineering part and other part, hydrological part, and each and everything has been discussed here. A few things I want to share with you, sir. Economic intervention. As Dr. D.K. Singh also mentioned, that flash flood. So what we have done in the experiment, and the farmers will also, sir, when there is a flash flood, and when there is a, you can say, 5 to 7 days of flood water in the field, and after receiving the flood water, when we spray, and I have given it term that integrated crop management, means a spray of DAP, 2% DAP and urea, and along with, sir, one insecticide and one fungicide, tebuconazole. Definitely, it regained that crop growth regained after 5 to 7 days of flood, and there was no drastically change in the yield. This is after the flood management, sir. Before that, if there is a flood, sir, and rice crop is there, and suppose that rice crop is there, then we have developed some contingency plan also, sir, like long duration of date of transplanting of rice, and you know, sir, that if in the chor area, if you, sir, permit, then I'll show you that slide, what contingency plan I have developed for that chor area, where there is a different stage of receiving of water. Accordingly, we have developed the crop calendar for those areas, and also, sir, cropping system for that Biara land, where there is a stagnant of water, where there is a you can say receiving of water after September, or we have given emphasis to the summer crop, even in the flood areas, sir. Nowadays, we are giving contingency planning to grow the Sesbania crop, not for the green manuring, sir, but for the seed purpose or seed selling purpose. So it is a remunerative to the farmer, because that Sesbania after 60-70 days is stagnant, that 8 to 10 centimeter of water for a month and prolonged period, sir. So this type of crop calendar, crop planning we have developed for that flood region area, sir. For during the flood season also, before the flood season also, and when there is a short duration of flood. Apart from this, sir, if there is a flood water, and you might be knowing, sir, that we have developed the recharge structure. When there is a flood water up to that October, November, then there is a late sowing of the wheat. And when we establish recharge structure in those areas, the flood water, or you can say that rainwater enter into that recharge structure, and that structure, after collecting that water, the field is you can say at the field capacity to sow that timely sown that wheat crop. So by developing the recharge structure on the community basis in that flood area, we can able to sow the crop on time and save the drastic reduction of wheat yield, which the Bihar farmers, you can say that because of late sowing of wheat with the Bihar farmers,
Right.
not only
Right,
that late
Dr.
sowing,
Kumar.
but also that wheat terminal. So all these 3-4 points, sir, I wanted to share with you, and you are here, sir, so you are also knowing that Center of Excellence of Water is doing the good thing for the water management and flood management and developing the contingency plan.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Now requesting Dr. Anil Srivastava, sir. And thereafter, Dr. Rajiv Singh. Sir, that is the last of this particular session.
Thank you, Dr. Amrish, for this opportunity. I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
At the outset, I mean, I opined some things in the beginning. At the outset, sir, about talking about the contingency, the number one is the stages and period of flooding. how long the flooding can be there. And I mean, we can't forecast, but we can be prepared with the alternates. And the area with the recurring floodings, land modification and drainage system planning, number one. Number two, diversification of farming and land use altogether. I mean, diversification of farming, going by water tolerant crops. I mean, the extreme cases are even makhana, foxnut, and deep water rice and jute cultivation. I mean, it is prevailing there. It is right there. And it needs to be properly integrated, worked upon, and integrated for the things. Similarly, we have the some varieties, some crops of millets. For instance, barnyard millet, it can tolerate a good amount of water logging. And when we see the flooding, the terraces or fields are flooded, the receding water management is very important. I was talking about the alternate and going for even for aquatic, uh, from terrestrial to aquatic land use. Kindly, I'm reminding of the water inundation in central India around Jabalpur and all that, and they have those Haveli cultivations. So the water is there, it cannot be drained out, and it needs to be contained. And as they dry out, then the sequence of cropping is there, and well laid sequence of cropping. That is where we need to merge the scientific input and with the traditional farming. First crop, let us say the mustard and all that are planted. Second, I mean, even it becomes with groundnut planting. And second crop, the regular field crops are there, and it ends up with the again with the mustard, and again with the barley, wheat and barley, those things. So the question is that we can sequence the crops along with that, and we can use the modern scientific prediction and evaluation, adding up to the traditional things that are being followed. And that is what I have to say about the flood water things. Most important aspect in the end, I would like to say, is the management of next crop. The receding water, how it can be conserved, it depends on the sink value. It depends on the gravel contents, and unfortunately, if it is overlain by the debris, it becomes a problem, and the small ditches can be made for rescuing and for going for the plantation. So offhand, these were some of my submissions. In the end, this is the final end about today's talk. I would like to emphasize that there has to be a consortium approach for a long term aspect. I mean, it cannot be जब flood आ गया तब उसको ठीक करना है, and it cannot be a short term our research management. It has to be a long term research management, going to the area where the fields are getting affected. I mean, the large area under eastern India and all that, those things are there. Thank you very much. This is at the outset I wanted to say.
Thank you, sir. There is many questions, so better to go with few questions here.
Very good.
One is how to manage silt deposition in the cultivated fields, especially in sandy loam soils of Punjab. Laser leveling also options is given there, and mixing the silt in the surface layer is a costly affair. So anyone can answer this one, sir?
I want to intervene at this moment. That's a the debris is there. I mean, it may be gigantic. क्या करें उसका कैसे करें? The question is that we have to make space, and we have to. I mean, some of the leaves elements we can pick up from our dry soil management. go for trenching. As far as possible, we can fill in the biomass. I mean, in those areas, the biomass could be there and the organic material could be there. Dump it in the trenches and try to retrieve it and go for plantation. And this has to be a long-term affair. I mean, it cannot be one season affair. Thank you.
Right, right. So with this, actually, Dr. Gopal Kumar from our
IMI?
IMI has some already preoccupied with the meeting schedule. So I am requesting him to share his IMI initiatives, and thereafter again we continue with few questions.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
So I don't have presentation. Maybe I'll take just less than time than allocated to me. And today, I don't know why for everyone it seems like super loaded day. So for me also, there are many parallel things going on. But anyway, so respected President, Chief Secretary, Vice President, Secretary, distinguished speakers and members and friends. So for me, it's really a pleasure to be among so many familiar and respected faces. In fact, I feel everyone is either seniors or friends here. So I'm in comfort zone. Whatever I speak, I see that there are well-wishers around me. So thank you for this opportunity. Because Giriraj has already spoken on behalf of IMI. So I see very limited things left for me. But fortunately, he has not touched. He was very focused on the flood aspect. I appreciate that point. But then he left some scope for me to add some few points. So I like that point. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity to share a few thoughts. And I would like to begin by appreciating this idea behind this kind of engagement that is bringing us knowledge and sharing opportunity for sharing knowledge. You know, whatever might we have as an association, we have come up to the expectation, and we are here when community and society needs. There are life and livelihood affected. So these crises, it seems to be neutral, affecting everyone, but they still have a gender dimension. And there are a large number of global studies to affirm that women suffer more in case of climate crisis. And somehow IMI and other CG centers works towards GSC exclusively. And now I learned that the new DG is bringing this dimension to our ICR work. So some of our work was already there, but then we were in general gender insensitive. I'll be honest in admitting, but then that new dimension is being added, and that is also what IMI is promoting. So maybe a little bit about IMI. IMI is a research for development organization and a part of CGIAR network. We are working with a vision of creating a water secure world, and our work is about solving water challenges that also improve food, environment, livelihood, ecology, and then also trying to scale up those solutions, obviously through partnership with government, civil societies, private sectors, and sometimes we have partnership, and many a times we have partnership with research organizations. Unfortunately, we do not have it with ISWC so far, but maybe we are aiming to develop some sort of partnership there also. So water, work as an intersection of food, energy, and ecosystem. So we are working, to be frank, at the intersection. So having headquartered at Colombo, IMI has presence in 16 countries, and we are serving 55 countries in Global South. So a new strategy is centered around 3 focus areas, like mitigating water risk, the one we are talking about, like floods and droughts, and then overcoming global inequalities, that is one of the focus area, and here comes the gender, youth, and inclusiveness, and the managing water sustainably. So water sustainability is, I think you can appreciate that there is a core mandate. And to deliver this, we work through 4 transformational levers, that is water data science, water governance, and again, gender, youth, and social inclusion, and then scaling, finance, and investment. So that is how structurally strategic focus are aligned now. So now I'll talk about how IMI functions actually. There are 2 types of programs we are working. One is CG supported science program now. Earlier it was called CG initiative, where there is pool funding. It comes from CGIAR central pool. And then it is for bigger problem, national problem we are trying to solve. And then not independently, but through partnership with national organizations, NGO, and CSO. So partnership is at the core of working of most of the CGR, especially for IMI, because particularly in regional office like Delhi, we don't have any lab or setup, and we are totally banking on the partners and research partners, and even for field implementation, CSOs and other parts. So right now, IMI is involved in 5 science programs out of 8 total science program of ICR initiative. One is called climate action. Again, it is very relevant to the topic we are talking when we try to innovate and collaborate to transform food, land, and water system for climate resilient, sometimes net zero and equitable future. Multifunctional landscape is another CG initiative, which is I am functionally dealing with this multifunctional in this region and in India specifically, having so many CG partners around, and where we envision vibrant, diverse, and healthy landscape that are managed holistically to support sustainable agri-food systems or resilient livelihood and healthy diets. And again, JC is part of across all these programs, gender, youth inclusivity are across all these things. And here I see there's a lot of similarity with the watershed program we have been doing. And you know that watershed, we cannot segregate from this kind of crisis like flood also. Had this catchment been treated well through watershed management, probably this could have taken part of this crisis also, even though there are climate-related crisis. But then that is something we should associate with this kind of crisis also to put relevance to our watershed, past watershed works. And policy innovations, mainly CG works with policy innovations, and IMI is leading this program also in this case. In this case, we want to deliver research and evidence-based policy. And I'll not detail those things. This is a little wider topic, and the sustainable farming is another program, and sustainable animal and aquatic food is another program where we are involved. IMI is involved. Otherwise, there are 8 science programs. So maybe I'll just flag few examples or rather flexi programs of IMI where we are working and where we have influenced policy in India. Maybe I'll take a couple of minutes to spotlight those things. Like IMI leads Nexus gain to optimize water, energy, food ecosystems. I think most of you know that working in isolation, either focusing on water or energy or food system may deteriorate other parts. So unless and until you work in balance, there is trade-off. Many a times there is trade-off, but then a smartness lies to find synergy and have a balanced approach where you are touching all 3 together. So interrelational things are there, and IMI is very focused on in WF Nexus challenges we are working. And you know the example, many cases, particularly in Punjab where we are talking, this is a new crisis, but then another crisis was there, which was more of chronic nature and the groundwater. And then their WF Nexus was not honored. So that is the living example. When energy subsidies were there was plenty of energy, then water scarcity came into. So means I would like to mention here that a balanced approach is required and IMI working. Solar irrigation nowadays we are focusing very much. Solar has another dimension, like if you put a lot of solar and then you are not caring with the alternate use of energy or any economic incentive, then again you will be losing WF Nexus. So it can be seen in the light of Nexus also. So solar we are working, then Swiss Development Corporation has supported some of the program. And some of this solar work has been really adopted by the government. I'll name few of the policies which are influenced by. So IMI, at least SIP sizing tool, which was the IMI ICR collaboration output from ITR Patna, and that is also now being part of PM Kusum policy in advisory that you can use this tools for sizing SIP. Groundwater governance, we are very much into it because water is the domain of IMI, and we are promoting participatory groundwater management and underground transfer of flood for irrigation. That is nothing but managed aquifer recharge, and we've been doing in our centers also some kind of recharge filter for recharge. So policy focus is here that sustainable use is critical, and there are examples also in this case, but for the paucity of time, I'll not go through. Resource recovery and reuse is another flagship program where we are turning wastewater, sludge, organics to fertilizer, compost, energy, and we are all aware of these things, but we are trying to work cross country and having some scaling from south-south collaboration from one country to another country. So that is another part, and that we influence urban and peri-urban policies also. Water accounting is another core domain we are doing for several basins, and we have done for Ganga Basin, in Nile Basin, another South African team has done, and the Volta Basins also. And drought monitoring and risk bundles is one of the things we have been showcasing, and that is work of Giriraj basically, and that is in collaboration with ICR and SAC, and there are multiple countries where Giriraj is pushing this one, and there are takers and buyers, and recently he was working in Zambia, and I think so many countries he is promoting drought mitigation and SADMS. I think some of you might have heard this term. SADMS was developed. So a bundling of solution like insurance and advisory, Giriraj was talking. I'll take 1 minute to explain when opportunity comes. And then farmers-led irrigation development in Bihar itself. There was example in Chakhaji, we call it Chakhaji model in Bihar, where farmer-led irrigation was there, and solar, it was basically solar, where buyer-friendly solar irrigation service market was provided, and it seems working. And then we are scaling this model to other parts from Bihar. And wetland also, we are partner with Ramsar Convention, and we are sharing regular document with Ramsar Convention. Last time we pushed one document through Ministry MNFCC. So finally, it didn't figure in those final goal, but it was there, and we are partner, global partner. So coming to the how much policy we are influencing, I'll give few example, and probably that will be the last part of my presentation. So there is, the PM Kusum, and that has been informed from a community-based solar, that is, we call in Gujarat, there was a solar community developed where several SIPs were pulled, and grid were connected to a centralized setup, and then there was grid selling to the grid, and that model influenced basically PM Kusum, and that is well documented and honored. And then there are bundle climate risk solution, BICSA, we call BISCA, and that was again done in Bihar, and I think Giriraj was lead in this case, where he promoted index-based flood insurance. Flood shield is another word he is promoting now. I don't know whether he is in the audience, because that is very fascinating. I'll take 1 minute maybe for this and how it is relevant to Punjab conditions. Then SADMS, I talked. Spring said there was some resource book published, and somehow that has landed up in your watershed guideline also. Resource book, when development was taking around, there was discussion of guideline, and then Spring said is now in our new guidelines also. I think so. In Punjab, we have worked with Pani Bachao, Pani Kamao, one kind of initiative we tried there, and that somehow, if you save energy, if you're not, because your energy is recorded how much you are using otherwise, if you save energy, direct incentive were given to them. And that is, we are still trying to scale. Then another is UTFI, we call underground transfer of flood for irrigation. Then there are convergence models with Manrega. We have developed one tool for Manrega assessment tool. And then there are what NRM tool, so NRM activities can be there. And then recently developed water productivity atlas by EMI, which is on What is Portal. Digital twins, we are very much into it, using AI and all. So in South Africa, there is very good example of canal operation, where even the catchment and flow in the river, and then reservoir the simulations as well as release of canal operation, all are done through digital twins. So that is an impressive work we want to bring to other aspects, other parts. And one multifunctional landscape, what we are doing in a living landscape, or we call it multifunctional landscape, it is a little close to the work we are doing in watershed mode. We are working with tribal communities, developed agroecological farm practices, NTFP value chain, and SIP plus diversification. This is new. Many times decentralized SIP we are promoting, but then energy comes literally free for the farmer once SIP is installed. So they are overusing groundwater, and then to dissuade them from overusing, we are providing some economic alternatives. So now in Mandla, we are trying with some rice mills and a storage device, so that they have some other use of energy, and there will be wise decision, and then groundwater is not affected. So that is how we are. Recently, we have launched one biocircular innovation hub in collaboration with BIAF and leading NGO in Pune. So these are some of the initiatives, but we are always open for partnership, and partnership is a core of IMI work. So I'll take just last minute for flood seed I was talking about, and I think some of the question of Ramanjit will also be addressed through this talk. The flood seed concept, concept, it was actually idea of Giriraj only, and I was part of discussion at that time when we were talking. So in this case, you work with historical data and the land DM kind of data, and you generate flood scenario for different kind of conditions. So once flood scenario is generated based on real time, or maybe forecasting may not be real, but real casting maybe, or maybe if forecasting is well, then you are generating that flood scenario, and the inundations is generated. So once inundation is generated, then you can assess the damage. Once damage is assessed, there was auto release of fund, means that insurance fund, And that is not only auto release of funds, there was a recovery package. So that model was tested in Assam. I think he's promoting in other places also. He is trying to. So we have to be very input ready in that case when a flood recedes and how quickly we can jump on. So the recovery and all, I think he has addressed. So with this, I think I've taken more than desired time, and thank you very much for this opportunity. We are very open for partnership and discussion later case. And I regret I may not continue for some time because there is another meeting with ICR DDG. So thank you very much again, Amresh sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gopal Kumar, for elaborate this initiative is not in brief, elaborate and also shared with the technical aspects, plans, programs initiated by IMI, particularly for flood management and water management. And of course, your strength partnership with the different organization is certainly this is the option and scope for our institute and others. So with this, we are in well time, and now coming to our next step, that is the follow-up remarks. And for this, I request Dr. Rajiv Kumar Singh, our Chief Editor, IJSC. So please your comments, and ultimately we have to make one summary or policy brief or initiative, whatever discussion had today. So in that direction, please.
Can you hear me?
Ji sir, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Amrish, for giving me this opportunity to express my views on the webinar. I think first I must congratulate Dr. Ramanji, who called me a few days back, and he wanted this type of webinar to happen, and it was very well supported by our president and vice president. So I think the purpose of the webinar was to understand complexity of the problem and what initiative different organizations are taking, research organization and developmental organizations, and what are the technological gaps and what technology already we know, what are the barriers in implementing the known technology in managing the issue. And then finally, let our scientists should understand what they can do, what are the initiative as a research scientist in the conservation, soil and water conservation field they can take to tackle the flood issues. So there were very impressive presentation by Dr. Giriraj, who very well comprehensively given us an overview of the problem and what are the different dimensions of the issue.
Podium album.
Dr. HR Meena, please mute.
So,
Dr. HR Meena, please mute. Our host, please mute from our side.
एक वाइल्ड बतवा आता है.
Dr. Meena, can you hear us?
ये सुन नहीं रहे एकदम लगता है कि ऑन
थोड़ा
करके
म्यूट कर लीजिए.
मीना जी म्यूट करिए अपना.
यस सर कर.
जी.
So he listed different drivers which are responsible for the problem of flood and what are the possible solutions. And that was followed by Dr. Rakesh, who gave us what are the different flood forecasting tools we have. And then Dr. D.K. Singh talked about flood vulnerability mapping and how they are progressing with that. And after that, Dr. Mukesh and Dr. Srivastav talked about the response technology, which they have been trying, and which was followed by Dr. Gopal about the initiatives taken up by IMI in the related areas. So I think it was very well executed idea, and it served the purpose.
आपका वीडियो नहीं आ रहा डॉक्टर साहब.
हाँ, मैं भी वही देख रहा हूँ, लेकिन I cannot help it. I have tried.
We are able to listen you very well.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have any presentation, so it doesn't matter. So now I was trying to note down a couple of points. What are the key takeaway message as a conservation scientist we should take from this webinar? And the dialogue should not conclude here. We should continue it, and
Right.
we should take it to some logical end. So a couple of things I just wanted to share with you. First is identifying vulnerable zones, which Dr. DK Singh was talking about, but I have one point here. Actually, he was talking about the physical mapping, the frequency of flood and intensity of the flood. But I think we should need to go, because vulnerability is a different term than frequency and intensity. So it should include adaptive capacity also, socio-economic impact, as we have seen that this year, Punjab has a much severe impact of the flood, in contrast to the eastern part of the country where there are more frequent floods. So vulnerability should have a different meaning, and vulnerability mapping should consider the socio-economic aspect also. So that is one thing, and we should take up some initiative as a scientist in that area. And then developing technology for response and recovery once we have this, because it is not much we can do to the peak events. Definitely they are going to give this type of scenario. We need to be prepared how best we can respond to such situations, and that has to be very specific to agroecosystems. And within agroecosystems, there are microzones. The severity of the flood have different impact just adjacent to the riparian areas and subsequent areas. So the response and recovery technology, we need to list out what we know, what is required, and where critical research gaps are there. And then another thing, Dr. Ramanjit was talking to me, that can we connect abundant bore wells uh, to use this flood water for recharging groundwater. So there is a deficit of water at one place and there is a surplus of water. So can we connect these two issues? And there is an opportunity. So we should explore this type of thing, and we should try to quantify how best we can do and what needs to be done in that area. And then management of riparian ecosystems. This is going to be very useful in flood management. So these are some of the key points which we can have more discussions, and I think there should be in-house discussion which should continue. And I think we have recorded all the presentations, and we can come up with the detailed proceedings out of this webinar. So these are some of the things I wanted to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
If permitted, one small suggestion, sir. There has to be a dedicated consortium-based approach, and on the long-term basis, status, documentation, agenda for future, ये तो होना ही चाहिए, और कोई knee jerk reaction नहीं काम करेगा. It has to be on a long-term basis, dedicated group, and working for that, and no disjointed efforts. Thank you, sir.
Right, sir. So, Dr. Rajiv Singh rightly mentioned complexity of floods, and in Bihar also I saw the extent and duration of water impounding, the key factor receding of the flood, and that giving opportunity of crop cultivation window. So all these aspects are very important to consider in our particularly this briefing. So with this, again, I am requesting if anyone having any valuable inputs, please share. One or two couple of points we can take here. Then reaching to the next and last, that is the concluding one.
हाँ डॉक्टर साहब,
हाँ
आरके सिंह,
जी सर.
मैं ये कह रहा था सर कि आई वांट द ओपिनियन ऑफ रिवर लिंकिंग. देयर आर टू एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द फ्लड कंट्रोल. वन इज द ट्रीटमेंट इन द कैचमेंट एरिया, another is the mitigation or the disaster management due to flood. And third one is that diverting excess water from one river to other. This is a long-term planning of the government of India. And recently I heard that the Kosi River is going to be connected with the Machi River, a tributary of the Mahananda. So a plan has also been approved by the central government. So in that way, 2.5 lakh hectare irrigation will be there, and also around 3,000 million cubic meter pani will be diverted. So if the House can give the opinion of the river linking, how it is feasible, and if you can control the flood water or divert the flood water, one flood will be mitigated, another extra area will be irrigated. So this point also I request that it can be included in the strategy or the plan for the flood control. Thank you.
Yeah, right, sir. This is the bigger drainage issue also in the, particularly in Bihar and eastern part. So sudden flush of the water, it is difficult to drain, and therefore the impounding of water, even meters, 2-3 meters of the water impounding in those areas. So that is of course challenging, but it is a nice suggestions. And now any more?
Sir, we have not heard from Punjab, sir. Dr. N.K. Sharma, sir, you can share your views on the floods in the Punjab.
नहीं अभी सर लास्ट में अभी बोलेंगे, थोड़ा सा छोड़ दीजिए उनको.
Okay, okay, sir.
कोई और? So now coming to our end and requesting Dr. N.K. Sharma, our senior colleague at this institute, and also he is always ready for us for technical and scientific support. So of course this is on the last step, so we also listen from him concluding of the entire this session.
Thank you, Amrish ji. First of all, I will congratulate our association and thanks the MA who has taken this step. I think this is the real time to discuss the problem of the disaster of the floods. Now everybody is saying that this time actually what happened in Punjab, if I say about Punjab, in 1988, it happens. The sudden this problem was created by the floods. Now this time it was more severe as compared to that. Now what happened actually, as you know, there are three rivers, Satluj, Beas and Ravi. Ravi is just passing the border of our country and the another country. But the water doesn't flow as per the borders. It flows all over where it gets the way to go. The main actually problem happened. There is a lot of rain and cloud bursts at the upper catchment area of these three rivers, and the water came suddenly. And one time what happened, the our district magistrate, he gave a message here. In the night, actually they wanted to there is a Beas river which is passing nearby, and Pong Dam is there, that is in Talwada. The floodgates were opened at that time in the night, and he instructed that the water may reach in the morning at 6 o'clock. You know, we have shifted our luggage to the first floor because the last time what happened, it is up to 8 feet, 9 feet water was there, standing water was there. Okay, so this is actually problem in the Punjab. Now the after flood effect is that there is a lot of sand has been deposited in the field of the farmers, and it is the another problem for them, how they can actually find out the way of out of that. The government is behind that, the NGOs are behind that, and everybody is helping, but it will take time.
Okay. Now, what initiative our association has taken, I congratulate this, because this is the real time to find out the things. And I think there are three things which I can conclude here. One thing is the historical data which is needed for the planning. Okay. And another thing is uh, planning. It is the one very important thing Dr. DK Singh told, that if we cannot go, Dr. RK Singh was also talking about the linking of the rivers. If we cannot go within the country, at least we can go within the state also. Okay, because states are within the approach of that particular government, and they can take the initiative of that. And the main thing is that we have to assess what is actually will go in the future. And it is very well, I was listening to everybody. Grish, Giriraj Singh told, and Rakesh Kumar also, they actually telling the modeling uh, which we can plan now what will be the situation in the future, and the planning. Okay, and the planning, which is now the main thing, as Dr. Srivastav said, the reservoir is a very critical thing. Now we have to, with the modeling, we have to assess what is the capacity is actually reducing day by day, and that is the main problem behind that. What the floodgates are needed to be open, because the capacity is reducing day by day. If we find out that this is the critical stage for the capacity, then we can take well in time we can take the action. It is with the state within the approach of state as well as in the center. And I think the crop planning is a very very important aspect out of that. Not only crop planning, animal husbandry is one, and horticulture is another thing. Is we have to plan accordingly, so that the farmer should get the benefit of the remedies as early as possible. So with this, I thanks Dr. Amrish, Dr. Madhu, Dr. Ramanjit, give me opportunity to conclude this. Dr. Amrish, I will say it is, I think, a very good initiative. Dr. Ramanjit, you should continue with these aspects so that the things should be refresh for the our new generation, so that they can take away for the work. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So one of the question, one of the suggestion from the Gopal Kumar, this is the right time to highlight our watershed work as flood moderation. And so now we are shifting from the water conservation to the flood management slowly and slowly. And this is the right time, of course, to discuss the flood. It is getting the hype, particularly in media and cloud burst. Just I was searching one of the site that cloud burst in last 2 months is the word most commonly and frequently used across the globe. So if a globe is recognizing that particular word, so and we are related to the hydrology and soil water conservation, so certainly our attention on that particular point, and therefore we have chosen this topic. And of course, the experience and views from the international organization and a number of the scientists and experts this year. So with this, any points, sir? Srivastava sir, yes.
Actually, sir, I was mentioning that way back in the beginning, the flood control was very much part of our program. And with the DVC working in Devchanda farm and all that, वो लोग इसी की बात करते थे. Thank you.
जी जी. Saro River. So now at the end, our Secretary, Dr. Ramanjit Singh, for vote of thanks, requesting, please come. Dr. Ramanjit. Yeah, whether he is connected or not. I think he is disconnected now. Ramanjit Singh.
वो कनेक्टेड तो है सर, पर उनका माइक शो नहीं हो रहा है शायद।
Ramanjit, if you are hearing, you can quickly move to some another PC. I think you have so many there close by. That is one solution you can have, like flood. So contingency.
So thank you. I am expressing my sincere thanks to all experts, particularly they spare time for this discussion and share their experiences.
अमरीश अनम्यूट कर लीजिए अपने आप को।
Policy brief. In that direction, we are working here. So these particular inputs is very valuable for us. And for that, I am expressing my sincere thanks to experts and director, particularly given the opportunity to start from here, and the President IASWC, Dr. M. Madhu, for here always constructive suggestions for involving much of the scientific activities, particularly for sharing of the knowledge and ideas among or across the various groups. Our senior colleagues and mentors, Dr. Anil Srivastava sir, Dr. N.K. Sharma ji, and many senior members from different centers, our scientists from institute, from outside ICR and other institute, many professors joined here from the universities, students, and of course at the end, all the officials of our association, and a special thanks to Dr. Ramanjit Singh. He took the pain and initiated all these activities since beginning, and every time he was involved nicely and managed the things. So real achiever, you can say, or I say him, his efforts for this, for the success of this particular webinar is his efforts. So with this, I am again expressing thanks to everyone. And again, we shall meet in next meeting with next webinar with some new and innovative topic. And I am expecting your support and your valuable suggestions help particularly for the scientific community development. Thank you very much to everyone.
Maybe I don't see anyone, so I was just waiting for a meeting with DDG, and I think we are still waiting from 4 o'clock.
गोपाल कुमार आपका नाम मैं मिस कर गया था।
No sir, no problem
Thanks to
sir.
IMI and
मैं ये
Gopaal
बताना चाह रहा था कि सर हम वेल विद इन टाइम है, ये अप्रिसिएशन है हमारे लिए, और जबकि मैं दूसरे मीटिंग का 4 बजे से वेट कर रहा हूँ, अभी स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है, एंड फॉर दैट आई ट्रबल यू आल्सो इन बिटवीन।
अच्छा, so we are lucky that you spare time more with us.
No, that is, we are good that we are adhering to the time schedule. So that is one good part we are at least. So that is one compliment. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amrish,
Thank
for
you.
organizing it. Very valuable topic.
So ठीक है सर, फिर मिलेंगे।
जरूर।
ठीक है अमरीश जी, आप
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
इजाजत है।
अरे इजाजत सर आपकी चाहिए हम लोगों को।
अच्छा, ओके सर। श्रीवास्तव जी नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार डॉक्टर साहब।
हाँ
वेरी
जी
नाइस
गोपाल।
मीटिंग यू। आपसे मिलके बड़ा अच्छा लगा।
चलिए बहुत अच्छा लगा सर।
सर को प्रणाम सर।
ओके ओके नमस्कार।
गोपाल कैसा है?
अब वाटर शेड को प्रमोट करो भाई जल्दी से, तभी बात बनेगी।
सर हम तो हर दुकान पे वाटर सेट का पोस्टर लेके जाते हैं।